It is August 18 of 2016. Here's the weather report. It says 76 degrees here in Boston. Now below the weather report, there's the weather news items, and I want to point this out. I will zoom in a little bit here. The first news article here is Watch Live, DHS gives update on Louisiana flooding. Now the same photograph was used in another one below. Louisiana flooding, volunteers descend on stricken state, which was a few days ago. They used the same photographs for the live updates. And then this one below that. Watch Live, again, Watch Live. Officials give update on Louisiana flooding. Now look over here. This one is July 2016, ranks as Earth's hottest month on record. July 2016, Earth's hottest month on record. That was last month. 3 weeks ago. 2016. Now, the point I'm trying to make is, here's 3 articles about Louisiana flooding. In 1970, which was 46 years ago, and I was 10 years old, and I was in 4th grade, we were shown a film strip about global warming. I don't know if they used that name for it back then. It was 1970. We weren't hearing this anywhere else. But our teacher did show us this film strip, what they showed in classrooms, about if we don't stop the pollution, if we don't stop driving automobiles like there's no tomorrow, burning gasoline, then there will be no tomorrow, because what will happen is that they had predictions of how long it would take before the ice caps started melting, and areas like Louisiana and Florida would be flooded and be submerged underwater because of all the melted ice caps would swell the oceans, and the lower areas would be taken in first, places such as Louisiana and Florida. And I remember sitting there thinking, with this information at the age of 10 years old, that nobody had told me before. Most people in 1970 were certainly unaware of it. In fact, I didn't hear about it other than that film strip in 4th grade. For years and years and years, it was never mentioned, global warming. For well over a decade afterwards, never heard it on the news or on TV, any mention of global warming. But I'd heard it in 4th grade at the age of 10, 1970. And I don't know what the timeline that they had predicted, but it wasn't too different from right now. 46 years later, the ice caps are melting. The oceans are rising. And low-lying places like Louisiana and Florida are being submerged. And here's 3 goddamn weather articles about that. Watch Live, updates on Louisiana flooding. This isn't the first we've heard of Louisiana flooding. We had Hurricane Katrina 11 years ago. Hundreds of people drowned in New Orleans. In New Orleans, I believe, well, largest city, I believe, if not the capital. I suppose Boca Raton is the capital. I never cared about the capital memorization stuff. But fucking New Orleans, hundreds of people were drowning. And fucking George Bush was so-called president, even though they'd rigged the elections to make him so. He was never genuinely, authentically, legitimately elected president. There's this asshole, this oil tycoon, whose interest is in attacking oil-rich countries, Iraq, that couldn't fight back, to suck all their oil, because he's a fucking oil tycoon. The last thing that guy cares about is global warming. The last thing that guy cares about is advising people to stop burning gasoline because it's melting the ice caps. The guy's a fucking oil baron, and he wants people to continue burning gasoline and paying for it not only through the nose but with their lives, sending people to go kill for the fucking oil. Did that guy give a shit about the fact that hundreds of people were drowning in New Orleans? Did he send any real effective assistance from the federal government? Not really. If he did, it was too little too late. Hundreds of people were drowning. The city of New Orleans was, on the train they call the city of New Orleans, was submerged, was being submerged underwater, and the guy was just fiddling. This fucking Nero was fiddling. Not while Rome burned, was fiddling while Baghdad burned, and while Louisiana got submerged, like the fabled continent of Atlantis. And this is what I was told 46 years ago was going to happen in a film strip in the 4th grade in 1970, that if we didn't stop this crazy burning of gasoline, this reckless unconcern about the future, this is the future we were going to have. The ice caps would melt, and places like Florida and Louisiana would be underwater. And I remember at the age of 10 years old saying, well, gee, if we know this, if we already know this, if scientists are already able to predict this and produce a film strip for 4th graders, then wouldn't you at least think, maybe up here in Boston people are going to say, yeah, it's not my problem, I don't give a shit. To hell with Florida and Louisiana. But you would at least, this is what I was thinking at the age of 10 years old, wouldn't you at least think that the people in Florida and Louisiana would be concerned about this, knowing that this is what lies ahead for them? But apparently not. And now it's 46 years later, and the predictions are coming to pass. The ice caps are melting, the oceans are rising, and these low-lying places are being submerged underwater. 3 separate articles on the weather page about Louisiana being flooded. Global warming. I made a video about global warming back, it was about 9 years ago, on my first YouTube channel. Yep, it was my first YouTube channel. And I made a video called Global Warming where I picked up a rake and raked the leaves. I said, look, you don't have to burn gasoline to rake goddamn leaves. And yet your Louisiana is being flooded, but you can't stop burning gasoline because you've got to blow the leaves that you could just pick up a rake to rake instead, like normal, like what used to be considered normal. But now everybody's dependent on burning gasoline just to fucking rake leaves, for Christ's sake. And now it's 9 years later than that. So that was only 37 years after I saw the film strip in 1970, and now it's 46 years later. Did my video do any good? Did anybody watch it and say, yeah, I'm not going to use a leaf blower, I'm going to pick up a rake? Nope. Nope. The only thing I accomplished was that I had it on record that in the year 2007, I gave this advice and said, look, you're concerned about global warming, stop burning gasoline to blow fucking leaves. Pick up a goddamn fucking rake. Especially if you live in Louisiana or Florida, you fucking morons.